video, we're going to talk about how to release your shift in Hotschedules or how to pick up a shift. So the first thing you're going to do is see that your schedule is right here for the week. Let's say that tomorrow you're not feeling well today, you really want to get that shift covered because you can tell you're probably not going to be well enough for that shift tomorrow. So when I come here, I can click on the shift that I want to release potentially. It's going to show your shift right here at the top. Right here you see two buttons. It says release this shift or swap this shift. You might swap this shift and say, hey, I'm going to come in a little bit later. Let me find someone who has an evening shift. I tend to feel better in the evenings when I'm not feeling great, so that would be a reason. Or hey, I got scheduled and I have an event that evening I totally forgot about. Maybe you can convince someone on the team to swap shifts with you for a morning shift if you're working in the evenings. But in this case, let's say we're releasing the shift. So hey, I'm not feeling well, I really want to get this shift covered, or I want to go hang out with my friends, let me see if I can get my shift covered. Make sure that you list the reason, so either personal, sick, family obligation, working another job, out of town, other. So we're just going to say personal on this one, and done. Once you release this shift, another employee will need to pick up the shift. It's no longer your responsibility once this is picked up. So that means that once someone else picks up the shift and it's been approved, it's not your responsibility to do anything with that shift anymore, which is really nice. It keeps the accountability on the other person who just picked up your shift. All right, so right here, there's a little marker on there showing that I have released my shift. So if I wanted to get that covered, I can do a few different things. Let's say it's been a few days and no one has picked up my shift and I would really like to go to the movies with my friends that night. What you can do is come into this shift. It still says, hey, it's still pending. I can either cancel it and say, what, I give up. Or I can look and see who's working on the shift versus not working on the shift. So if they were everybody working on the shift that day, maybe I can come through and go, Shelby gets off at 4:30. Let's say my shift started at 4:30. I could say, Shelby, can you work my shift? I know you're off at 4:30. So this gives me some data to come in and look at. And then maybe I say to Shelby, hey, if you can go ahead and go into Hotschedules and pick my shift up, that would be great. All communication has to go through Hotschedules. You cannot call the shift leader to just say like, oh, so-and-so is picking up my shift. You need to make sure that all that communication goes through here. So Shelby would then need to come in and pick up the shift, which we'll show you in just a minute. All right, the other option, let's say you've talked to everybody, you've reached out to every person in here. You can also go to not working on the shift, and that'll show you everybody who's not working that day, which is also very helpful when you're trying to get it covered for a shift. If you have done everything you can, you've reached out to every person, you can then reach out to the person who's leading the shift that day and say, hey, I've tried everything, I'm not feeling well, like I woke up this way, and let them know that you won't be able to be at your shift. However, do not call less than 3 to 4 hours in advance, or else this will have disciplinary action. You want to make sure you let the shift leader know as soon as possible when you're not feeling well, or if you're not going to be at your shift. And so when we get calls 15 minutes before the shift saying, I'm not going to be there today, there will be disciplinary action for that because you didn't plan very well for your shift this day. So that's how you pick up shifts or release your shift on Hotschedules.